Hello, everybody. I hope you have had a wonderful week. I hope you have had a wonderful day. And I hope you have been looking forward to my assembly this week, which is all about, as you can see on the photo here, all about Advent. Yes, and I wonder if you can remember what Advent actually is. Now, you may have been thinking about this in RE at the moment. So I want you to think, what actually is Advent? Do you know? Talk to the person next to you. So Advent is a really important part of the Christian calendar. And what I have put here next to, just underneath my head here, is actually the Christian calendar. So we have January, February, March, April, May, like you can see around here. Those are the months of the year that recognize on our calendar that we use every day to work out what day it is and what the date is and what next month is, all of those things. Now you'll see around the outside here, this is the liturgical calendar. So thinking about Christianity, these are all different events, key events that occur throughout the Christian calendar. And here we go, you can see Advent is right here and it's in front of something else. I wonder if you can see what that next thing is. So Advent actually means coming, and it's the period just before Christmas. So here is Christmas, and just before is Advent. And we know that Christmas obviously celebrates the birth of Jesus Christ. So Advent is all about the preparations that we make. It's all about preparing for Christmas Day. And in that preparing, I don't just mean preparing things like buying our presents. I also mean how we in ourselves prepare for Christmas, to prepare to be part of having a celebration with our families, with our friends, take some time to reflect on the year that's gone by and to think about all the values and everything magical that comes out of the Christmas story, how we prepare for that as well. So Advent actually starts on the Sunday that is nearest to the 30th of November. So this year in 2021, it started on Sunday, the 28th of November. So it started last Sunday before we came back to school this week, and it runs all the way until Friday, the 24th of December, which this year is Christmas Eve. So why do we celebrate Advent? Like I've said, it's all about that time to prepare. So Christianity focuses on the life and the teachings of Jesus Christ, who Christians believe to be the Son of God. Now, Christmas is a time for us all to celebrate Jesus's birth. And so the time of Advent reminds Christians to prepare and remember about those celebrations as we build up to that really special day on Christmas Day. Now, here are just some of the things, oh, did a little knock there. Here are just some of the Advent traditions that actually you might have in your own house right now. Or actually you may have seen at school, or maybe in your friends or family's house, they may have some of these things. So down here is the Advent candle. So this is a single candle, and as you can see, there are numbers on it. So every day through Advent, you burn the candle until it goes down to the next number. So on day number 1 of Advent, you light it, and then when day 1 is finished, you blow it out, ready for day 2 of Advent. So all that counting down is important. Here we've got the Advent wreath. Now, you may have seen these Advent candles at school in assembly, but sometimes people put them in a wreath as well. And you've got all these candles, and I'm going to tell you a bit about the candles in a moment. Over here, we have got an Advent calendar. And I expect loads of you, give a little hands up at the moment if you have got an Advent calendar in your house right now. And I think times have changed a lot from when me and some of the teachers were younger, because we only had a chocolate one. Sometimes people only had ones with pictures in. Those are equally as acceptable. But now you can get ones with perfume and fidget toys and Lego and crystals. I know someone on the playground was saying they really wish they had a crystals one, but at £400 an Advent calendar, I think I understand why they don't have a crystals Advent calendar. And down here, there is the Jessie tree. So some people in their houses have a special Jessie tree that they hang all the different pictures and symbols of Advent and the nativity story and the life of Jesus and his story onto it. So you may have one of those in your house as well. So I'm going to focus right now on the Advent candles and looking at what they mean. So as you can see here, we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Advent candles. Now, the first one, they've got the words above it, which is helping us out here. The first purple, or maybe the violet candle, represents hope. And it tells us and reminds us about God's forgiveness. Now, this is often called the patriarch candle, and it focuses on Abraham and David. Now, David is particularly important in the Christmas story because actually Jesus was born in the city of David. And that's the first candle that we light during Advent. Now, the second purple candle symbolizes love, and it's meant for the prophets. Now, those prophets are really important in the Bible because they gave us the story. They foretold the story of the Messiah being born hundreds of years before he was even there. So it's that time to think about the prophets and their part they've had to play in the story of Jesus. Then the third candle over here is a different color. As you can see, it's pink, or some may say it's rose. And this candle represents the joy that the birth of Christ brought to the world. Now, this candle is particularly focused on John the Baptist, who proclaimed the Saviour. And we know that John the Baptist was quite key throughout Jesus's life as he grew up. And the last candle we have here is for peace, and it's for Mary, that candle, thinking about how Mary was his mother. She grew him in her womb. She looked after him. She was there for him. She was his mother. She was chosen by God to give birth to the Son of God, to the Son. How amazing is that? So that's why that last candle is for Mary. Now, it's not quite the last candle though, Mrs. Lewis, is it? No, because there's this other one, and it hasn't got something written above it. Now, this white candle that you sometimes see in the middle of the wreath, not everyone has it all the time. And sometimes it's not white, sometimes it might be gold. Now, this is a really special candle. It is called the Christ candle, and it is lit on Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day, and it represents Christ and it represents purity. Now, the Christ candle is then lit every day from Christmas Eve. So at midnight Christmas Eve, it gets lit quite often during midnight mass. And then in the next day of the midnight service, and then the next day on Christmas Day, it's lit to represent that Christ has been born. Now, they then light that candle every night until the Feast of Epiphany, which is January the 7th. So those 12 days after Christmas, that Christ candle is lit for, which is really important. Now, I want you to take a moment to look at those candles and to think of those words that we've just gone through: hope, love, joy, and peace. I want you to think about those 4 words for a moment. Think about why those 4 words are really special and what makes them particularly special during Christmas. So this week, this first candle that has been lit is the candle for hope. And I want you to think right now, what is your Christmas message to somebody else? What do you hope for over this period of Advent? What do you hope for as you think about how you're going to prepare for Christmas, how your families are going to prepare for Christmas? What do you hope people get this Christmas time? And I don't mean that in terms of presents. I don't just want you to say, well, I hope I get this and I get this and I get this. What do you hope for other people? I'll give you my hopes. So I really hope that during this Advent time and during the period of Christmas time afterwards, I really hope that every single person within our school community has a time that they really enjoy. I hope that all the children in our school community really appreciate all the work and all the magic and all the love that your families will put in to make Christmas a special time for you. And I hope that every single one of the St. Mary's community really appreciates everything that happens over the next few weeks, whether it's things that happen in school or things that happen at home. I hope we really appreciate each other, and I hope that we really value each other as people, and that we will continue to be kind, especially as it gets a bit stressful and everyone starts doing so many things. I really hope that we remember to take time to say please and to say thank you and to appreciate all the things that we're going to share with each other. Those are my hopes. So I wonder, what would your hopes be for the next few weeks? Talk to each other about it. So something that I'd really like to share with our entire community is something really exciting that happened on Saturday, so the day before Advent started. Here is an article from the Evening Echo, and you will see here some familiar faces. So you'll be thinking, oh, okay, here's somebody we recognise. Here are lots of children over here that we recognise. Here's a man that we recognise. This might be a man that you recognise. Oh, don't know this person. Not sure about this person. Who are these people? Well, at the weekend, we had the most wonderful start to Christmas because some of our members of the school choir came together with the choir from Our Lady of Lourdes Primary School, which is in Lee. That's a Catholic school. We have come together as one choir for the most amazing event in which we raised money for Dan Coulsey, who you can see here, who is the president of the SVP shelter in Southend. And that's a shelter we have been supporting for 2 years now through Harvest and at Christmas. So a special concert, but Mr. Whittam's here and Mrs. O'Kane, who is the head of music and music teacher at Our Lady of Lourdes, put together this wonderful concert. And through the ticket sales, we were managed to raise over £1,000. And then during the performances, there were two. There was a 4 o'clock one and a 7 o'clock one. They then raised another £200 in donations from people putting money in the bucket on the way round. And it was absolutely wonderful. It was a wonderful concert to watch. I was really lucky I got to watch it twice. But I hope that spirit that came through in that concert reigns through in everything we do this Christmas time. This was a shining example of how communities can come together to focus on something good. And so our two schools, us and Our Lady of Lourdes, came together to sing the rafters. The roof was off with the beautiful singing with all the Christmas songs. But at the root of it, we have raised over £1,000 to support some of our most vulnerable people in our community. So because of these children singing and because of their families supporting, it means that the SVP shelter can help to feed people over Christmas who can't afford food. They can help to give people new coats. They can help to buy people mattresses. They can help to buy people new shoes. All of those things that sometimes we take for granted, but us coming together has provided hope for some of our most vulnerable people in our community who might actually be getting really worried about Christmas because they're sad, maybe they're alone, maybe they're worried about what will happen to them. Maybe they're also really worried about the weather because as it gets colder, it becomes more difficult if you're not living in a home. So we were able to harness that spirit of hope to do something so amazing. And I'm so proud of all of you that were part of that wonderful event on Saturday. So let's take some time now to say our prayer, to focus ourselves as we go into Advent. And as we go into the last 2 weeks of school before Christmas, let's really focus ourselves to what we're going to do to make sure that our community is stronger than ever at this time. So we're going to say this together. Christ be in our eyes and in our looking. Christ be in our ears and in our listening. Christ be in our hands and in our making. Christ be in our minds and in our understanding. Christ be in our hearts and in our loving. And what you might want to do as a class now is maybe do that prayer again, maybe with some actions, maybe actions that you want to do together, or maybe your own actions, because this is an intention for us to think about how we can take the Spirit of Christ in our actions, in our words, every single day going forward. So how are we using Christ to help us see things, to help us hear, to help us understand, and to help us love better? So now we're going to have our song for today, which I have to say is an old favourite of mine from when I worked at my first school. So I hope that you enjoy it and you might end up joining in.
Christmas
I hope that you really enjoyed singing that song. It is a bit of a favourite of mine. And I hope that lots of things from my assembly today you saw in there. We're starting a wonderful time. The singing has started, all those brilliant things. The Christmas food is coming out. A few more people are wearing the Christmas jumpers now. I'm not alone anymore in that. But all of those things are things that we really enjoy about Christmas. But actually, what we should really focus on is this here. So, what is Christmas? It's the tenderness of the past, courage for the present, and hope for the future. And I hope you take a bit of a moment to think about that and think about hope, love, peace, and joy, and how those four things can really fuel us as we go forward into Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It has been lovely to have so many of you at Boston Avenue. Tell me that you've been reading the books on the bookcase, and I'm really proud to see that you are being really responsible at putting those books back exactly where they go when you finished with them, and writing your names in that special book so I know who's got them at the moment. Thank you very much for being really respectful and responsible with those new books so that everyone in our community can enjoy them. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.